In this video, I'm going to show you how to create an amazing poster design in Photoshop. Grab your mouse as we dive in. So first and foremost, we are going to create a new document. Choose a solid color. We are going to create another solid color. Alright, with the mask selected, we are going to grab the gradient tool, set foreground to black. So we have it set to foreground to transparent. And then we are just going to drag this way to erase that part. Alright, this is before and after. So we are going to reduce the opacity a bit. So we are going to create an exposure adjustment layer. We are going to create a curves adjustment layer with the mask selected. Grab the brush tool, increase the opacity to 100, set foreground to black. We are going to increase the size by the right bracket key. And then we'll make a few clicks. Let's grab our resources now. So first and foremost, we copy this item, Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. Right click and convert to smart object. So we'll just position it well. We copy this item. So let's grab this item. So let's select these two items and copy them. Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. Now we can position them well. Right click and convert to smart object. So we copy this item, Ctrl C to copy, Ctrl V to paste. Right click and convert to smart object. Make it smaller a bit. Ctrl J to make a copy. Ctrl J to make another copy. We can grab the text now. So we are just going to position it over here. Once we have everything in place, so we are going for shadows and highlight. So let's select this item. Alright. We are just going to position them a bit. So we're going to create an exposure adjustment layer. Clip it onto the layer. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a software brush. Make the brush size smaller by the left bracket key. Reduce the opacity. Set foreground to white. And then we are going to paint some shadows. We are going to create another exposure adjustment layer. Clipped onto the layer. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a software brush and paint some shadows. With this layer selected, we are going to apply motion blur. Let's reduce the opacity for this one. So this is before and after. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a software brush and we are going to paint some shadows. Let's change the roundness. Right click and change the roundness. Before and after. Let's reduce the opacity. The layer selected, we are going to create another exposure adjustment layer. Clipped onto the layer. Before and after. Grab a software brush. Right click and change the roundness to normal. And we are going to paint some shadows. So I'm going to create a curves adjustment layer for this one. Sorry. I'm going to create an exposure adjustment layer. Clipped onto the layer. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a software brush. Reduce the opacity. Foreground is set to white and we are going to paint some shadows. Increase the opacity a bit. And we are going to paint some shadows. We are going to create an exposure adjustment layer for this also. With the mask selected, Control I to invert. We grab a soft time brush, increase the opacity. Foreground is set to white and we are just going to paint some shadows. With this item selected, we are going to create an exposure adjustment layer. With the mask selected, Control I to invert. We grab a soft hand brush, increase the opacity a bit, and we are going to paint some shadows. So foreground is set to white, and we are going to paint some shadows. We are going to create another exposure adjustment layer, but this time around for highlight, before and after. So with the mask selected, Control I to invert. We grab a soft hand brush, set foreground to white, and we are going to paint. We are going to create a solid color. It's already clipped onto the layer, so we just paste. Solid color is already clipped onto the layer. We just change the blend mode to linear dot add, then we go for blending options. So we move the slider a bit. We are going to hold Alt and break the handles. You hold Alt and you just separate the handles, so you break them. With the mask selector, Control I to invert. Increase the opacity, foreground is set to white. And we are going to paint some light highlight. We are going to create another exposure adjustment layer. Clip onto the layer. With the mask selected, Control I to invert. We grab a soft time brush, increase the opacity, and then we are going to paint some shadows. We are going to create a new layer below the bow. Grab a soft time brush. So let's right click and change the roundness. Increase the opacity. Then I'm just going to set foreground to black. And we click once. So this is the contour shadow we have for the bow. We create a new layer. So we are creating some contour shadows here. Right click and change them. So let's go to the brush settings and we can change the roundness to 7. Let's reduce the opacity. So we are going to create a mask. Grab a soft hand brush, turn the roundness to normal. Make it smaller, set foreground to black. And we are just going to erase some part. So with the board selected, we are going to create a new layer just beneath it. Grab the polygonal lasso and we are going to create a selection this way. Right click and fill. So we are going to fill with foreground, where foreground is black. Okay. Ctrl D to deselect. We grab the move tool. Right click and convert to smart object. We'll go for filter and apply Gaussian blur. So we are setting the radius at 8. Sorry, let's set it at 12 rather. Then we'll reduce the opacity. With this layer selected, we are going to create a new layer just beneath it. Grab the polygonal lasso tool. And we are going to create a selection this way. So we are going to fill with the foreground. Foreground is set to black. Okay. Ctrl D to deselect. You right click and convert to smart object. So first of all, let's position it well. Right click and distort. Click the check mark to confirm. So right click and convert to smart object. Go for to filter, then Gaussian blur. We set radius at 6. And we are going to create a mask. Grab the gradient tool. Foreground to transparent. And we are just going to slide this way. Undo. Reduce the opacity. So with this layer selected, we are going to create a new layer just beneath it. Grab a soft hand brush. Right click and change the roundness. Make the brush smaller, so we are just going to click and make some contact shadows there. We are going to reduce the opacity. Set foreground to white. And we are just going to paint more shadows. We create a new layer above all layers. We make the brush bigger. Increase the opacity. Set foreground to white. So we zoom out and we are just going to click once here. Let's scale it up. We are going to change the blend mode to overlay. Reduce the opacity. So with this shadow selected, we are going to reduce the opacity a bit. For this as well, this is 100. We are going to reduce the opacity. So we are going to create a solid color. We will just paste it right here. So we are going to clip the layer, right click and create a clipping mask onto the bow. We change the blend mode to linear dodge add in the layer, then we go for blending options. So we are just going to move this slider a bit, hold Alt and bring the handles. Okay. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft hand brush. We decrease the opacity a bit. And we're going to set foreground to white. Make the brush smaller by the left bracket key. And we are just going to paint some highlight onto the bow. So with this layer selected, right click and convert to smart object, Ctrl T to transform. We are going to set the blend mode to screen. We are going to apply a hue and saturation adjustment. So we check colorize, we clip it onto the layer. So the effect applies only to the layer. Before and after. So with the layer selected, we are going to apply a levels adjustment layer already clipped onto the layer. So with the layer selected, we are going to create a mask. With the mask selected, Ctrl I to invert. We grab a soft hand brush. We increase the opacity a bit. Foreground is set to white since we are painting. And we are just going to bring some back this way. So we swap foreground and background to white and black. Once it's set to black, we are just going to erase the excess. So with white we are painting, you swap to black and just erase the excess. Now we have everything in place. Press Ctrl Alt Shift E to merge all layers. Right click and convert to smart object. Then we are going for camera raw. So filter, camera raw filter. Then we are just going to play with everything around here. Once that is looking better, we just click OK. So we click OK. This is before and after camera raw. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, stay creative.